Every city has a house that people whisper about. They don't live in it, they avoid it. In our case, it was an old house on Cherniknia Street. Dusty, half-ruined, with an attic where someone was supposedly hiding, or something like that. Lena and Katya are two friends who decided to spend the night in this house. It was supposed to be fun, but by morning, Lena had disappeared. They brought candles, flashlights, a thermos of cocoa, and an old deck of cards. Everything was like in a movie. Laughter, ghost stories, silly scarecrows. The house seemed alive. The floorboards creaked. The wind walked in the broken window frames. And yet, they laughed. Until a certain moment. Katya began. You know, they say that a house lived in this house. Mom, Dad, and a girl. The girl disappeared the same night when the parents went on vacation, and when they came back, she was gone. The police found nothing, only a drawing on the wall, drawn in blood. And then, the candle went out on its own. Lena got up to check the windows. Katya froze as if she couldn't move. And suddenly, there was a noise in the attic. Muffled as if someone was crawling. Did you hear? Katya asked. Lena nodded and went upstairs. Katya screamed, "Don't go there!" but had already disappeared into the darkness of the stairs. 10 minutes passed. 15. Katya walked around the room, calling, but in response only echoes and creaks. She plucked up her courage and followed her. The attic was empty. Only an old teddy bear and drawings on the wall. Among them were new ones. A girl with empty eyes. Next to her, someone in a black hat. Katya went downstairs. I called my parents. The police, dogs, even volunteers arrived. We searched every corner. The house was empty. Lena was gone. Only Katya knew, whoever was upstairs, they dragged her friend away. And she saw them only once, for a moment. A tall silhouette, a black hat, and a smile. Not real, scary. 15 years passed. Katya grew up. I moved, but at night she dreamed of this house. And sometimes she felt Lena, somewhere nearby. Especially in the mirrors. Intonation is a pause, a slight tension in the voice. One day she saw an article. A girl had gone missing in another city. Similar circumstances, the same smile in the photograph, the same black hat. She decided to go back. The house was there. It squinted, but seemed to be waiting for her. Katya went up to the attic. Shh. Everything was as before, a teddy bear, a painting, and a new one. Her portrait, with elongated eyes and the inscription, "Now you are mine." She couldn't leave. The footsteps died off, the light faded, and somewhere in the darkness, a voice was heard. The nursery. Lenny. "Shh. Katya, he's coming for you." Katya didn't remember how long she stood there, frozen in the dusty attic. The air was thick, as if it wasn't there. She turned her head slowly. The candle had somehow flared up on its own, flickering. Little shadows danced on the walls, and each one seemed wrong, too long, too thin, moving when she didn't. Pause. Then there was a whisper. Not from behind, not next to her, but inside her ears. Stop. It wasn't Lena's voice. It was lower, stretched, like the sound of something being dragged. She turned to run, but the attic door slammed shut on its own. The house groaned again as if awakening. This time, the drawings on the wall, dozens of them. The figure in the black hat was multiplication. In each picture, he was getting closer to the girl, Lena. And in the last one, he was standing behind Katya. She tried to scream, but her voice was stuck in her throat. Her hand reached for the door, cold metal beneath her trembling fingers. It was locked. Then another whisper. "You're back, just like she said." Beat. Normal tone filled with horror. Katya retreated to the farthest corner of the attic. Her phone, useless. No signal. Just static from the voice recorder app she'd forgotten was working. The screen was glitching. And then, the recording played by itself. A girl, laughing. Lena's voice. Slow, frightened tone. "Don't you want to see what I've become?" Suddenly, the floor beneath Katya split with a dry crack, and she fell, not to the floor below, but into darkness. It wasn't just black, it was empty. No sound, no light, only one thing. The mirror in front of her. Her reflection. A smile in response, but not a smile. Even trembling voice. It became wider, stretched. The eyes were hollow. Fast, mounting panic. She tried to step back, but her legs wouldn't move. Something cold grabbed her ankle, not her arm. Something like a vine or a rope, pulling, stiff, until... Cuts off abruptly, changes tone to daylight, normal, but dark. She woke up in her apartment. The sunlight was harsh, too bright. The sheets were wet with sweat. On her ceiling, a handprint, too big to be human. Calm, choppy tone. For weeks, Katya was silent, not to her family, not to her friends. Her therapist called it a nervous breakdown, possibly related to childhood trauma, but she knew better. She never went back to the house because it never let her leave. Quietly, quietly. The house was inside her, now, in her dreams, in her mirrors. Distant voice. She started seeing the man in the hat again, on the street, reflected in the windows of the bus, in the shadows behind his colleagues. He never moved, just watched, waiting. Pause. Then, tiredly. Then the packages arrived. No return address, just old blueprints, pencil and paper. The house came first, then Lena, then Katya, then the last, all together, holding hands. Shh. He drew them all and signed it family. Gloomily, Katya decided to end it. In truth, she contacted a journalist, told him everything, showed him the photos, the footage from the attic that she still had on her phone. He listened quietly, didn't interrupt. When she finished, he looked at her and smiled. Shh. His smile was wrong, too wide, too familiar. Fade to whisper, echo. You should never have leave. Part 3, Under the Floor. Since Lena disappeared, the silence in the house had changed. She wasn't just absent, it was as if she left a hole in her wake into which reality fell. Katya hadn't slept for the second day. Shadows flickered before her eyes, and a rustling sound rang in her ears, barely audible but persistent, like a whisper under the floor. The parents looked everywhere, in the forest, at the neighbors, in the basement, but all was in vain. Katya didn't tell them that she had heard Lena's voice that night, when she was alone. A voice from under the bed. It was calling her, begging, and it began to cry. She tried to convince herself that it was a hallucination, a game of a tired mind, but the sound didn't go away. The rustling became clearer, as if someone was really crawling there, under the boards. And so, at night, when the house fell asleep, Katya got up. The silence outside the window seemed like a mask. Something was hiding behind it. The girl took the flashlight and went to Lena's room. She hadn't been there since that night. Everything was untouched. The bed, the drawings on the wall, their photograph. The air was heavy. It smelled of dust, mold, and something else. Kneeling down, Katya listened. Breathing could be heard under the floor, muffled, sharp. "Lena," she whispered, "are you here?" A second of silence and creaking followed. One, a second, then a whisper was heard, indistinct but clearly familiar. Katya moved the carpet aside. Under it was an old slanted board. She didn't remember that there was a hatch or a subfloor. My heart was pounding in my throat. She lifted the board. Under it was empty, and steps leading into darkness. The flashlight shook in her hand. Her legs shook, but something, maybe Lena's voice still ringing in her head, pushed her forward. She went down.
Someone pushed her, and she disappeared into the darkness of the dark basement. Since then, no one has ever seen her. Perhaps she met her sister somewhere there in the darkness of mysticism.